Coming up this weekend, we kick off the North Dakota State softball and baseball tournaments happening all over the state. Jamestown and Minot. We'll have crews in Bismarck as well for softball and crews in Grand Forks for state tennis. A lot going on. We'll give you a full update on that in just a little bit. This is becoming a yearly tradition on Memorial Day, and that is having our good friend Scott Kost from Central Cass join us to talk about his softball team, who are back in the state tournament. No shocker there. They're the number one seed in the Class B side of things. Scott, it's great to see you again. I feel like the last time I saw you was 365 days on Memorial Day leading into the state tournament. So how you been since then?
I've been really good, Sam. It's good to see you.
Absolutely. Tell us about this year. Region 1 championships, outscoring opponents 36-0 over the 3 games over this last weekend, 1 seed again. What are your overall thoughts on this last season?
You know, we've had a really good year. We did play a tough schedule. You know, one of the things that we like to do is we like to iron sharpens iron, right? So we like to play a tough schedule, and we've got a lot of Class A teams that are willing to play us, and so we took our lumps in a few games. We got beat up a little bit. We got some things that we needed to work on exposed, and so but by the time we got to the end of the year here, we feel like we're playing really good right now. I think the kids have responded really well. You want to peak at the end of the year, right?
Right.
And that's, I feel like that's what we're headed to do here.
Well, take us through those 3 games in the region tournament. What was working so well for you guys to, one, not allow a run and to put up as many runs as you guys did?
One of the things we always talk about, Sam, is we just talk about, you got to win the battle of freebies. And in the postseason, it kind of starts with your pitching and your defense and just making sure that you're not putting base runners on when you don't need to, that you're making the plays that you need to make. And so that's where it all started. That's how we got the 3 shutout wins, is we pitched really, really well.
Yeah.
We played good defense when the ball was put into play, and then we hit the ball around a little bit. I thought we had better at bats here in the last week than we've had all season long, where the kids were much more aggressive. They were picking out a pitch that they wanted to drive, and so our bats were really good as well.
We've talked about this a lot over the last couple of years now. There's been so much success at Central Cass for so long. In every team, it's a new team every single year, whether seniors go or returners come back with some more experience. And every team has a new identity. How would you describe the identity of this year's team?
Yeah, this group of girls, we have seniors this year, so we didn't graduate any seniors last year. So we do have the same group of girls that came back, but it is different, just like you said, Sam. They, every year I look at it and it's kind of like putting a puzzle together. And how are you going to defend well? How are you going to have a lineup that's going to produce? And this group of kids, they just work hard. I mean, that's the one thing. If there's one kind of thing I'm going to always remember about this group, is they just are willing to work hard. We've had extra practices. We have long practices. When we do practice, we practiced in really bad weather. And they just keep coming back and they keep working at it. And so that's what I really appreciate about this team. And they're hungry. I mean, despite being the defending state champion, we started over at the beginning of the year. It didn't matter what we did last year. And they've stayed hungry all the way through the year here.
The tradition of your program is prominent, there's no doubt, with 7 total titles and, as you mentioned, defending state champions. Is there pressure with that at all? How do you guys handle that?
I think there is pressure, yes. I think the bar is high, and that can be hard for high school kids.
Yeah.
What we try to talk about, though, is the way that we handle it is we're going to take it one game at a time. That's an old cliche, but it's really true. You can't win a state championship in March, and you can't win a state championship in April. You just got to do the things that you need to do and kind of buy into the system and buy into the process that we're trying to instill. And hopefully what comes out at the end is that we're performing really well at the end of the year. We're competing really well at the end of the year. And right now that's what we're trying to do. These last few days of the season, we're going to just try to make sure that we're doing the things that we need to do, that we know we need to do in order to be successful.
So we will have coverage of this state tournament on the networks of WDAY for those that are going to be watching Class B softball this weekend. Who on your team should fans be on the lookout for that's really having great seasons?
Yeah, well, it'll start with our pitcher, Whitney Mitchell, has had a phenomenal season. She is the epitome of a hard worker, somebody that's going to work hard and do the things that she needs to do in order to be successful. We've got 3 more seniors that are going to be playing their last games here: Brady Bussey, Aspen Preen, and Kira Gunnifson. That will be, expectations are that they'll play really good defense, but they're also going to produce at the plate. Sophie Sherwhite anchors our infield at shortstop. She's just been a phenomenal player here. She's only a junior, so we get to have her back for another year. So those are some of the kids that I would look for.
Again, Scott Kost joining us, the head coach of Central Cass softball, ahead of the Class B state softball tournament in Jamestown this weekend. You can catch all of the action on the networks of WDAY. If I remember right, you told me last year that you're not a huge fan of having the team stay in hotels. Is that going to change this weekend? Do you get the schedule all squared away for what's coming up this week?
Yeah, we got the schedule all squared away, and we are not staying in a hotel, so we'll drive back. Yeah, so we'll be driving back and forth like we normally do. I just think it's better, and it's worked. It's worked in the past. Yep. It takes us 70, 80 minutes to get to Jamestown from here, and our parents are amazing. So they do things before we get on the bus to head to Jamestown. They feed the kids and encourage the kids, and it just works. So no hotels for us this weekend.
70, 80 minutes. That's nothing for you guys. You guys have had some road trips this year, haven't you?
Yep. Nope, that's nothing. That's a good time to lock in and get focused and make sure that we're ready to do the things that we need.
You mentioned having a really tough schedule this season, and that obviously means having some of the best from Class A on the schedule and iron sharpening iron. What were those first couple of games like against Class A opponents this season for your team? Did it feel like they had to settle in a little bit, or did they perform above expectation there? Oh, I think we lost him. The powers of the internet. We lost Scott to a frozen screen. Oh. We'll see if he comes back on here in the next couple of minutes. If not, that's all right. Guys, if we got that graphic that you popped up before the segment, I'll keep an eye on Scott and see if our Wi-Fi kicks back in here. You can throw that up and we'll get into our coverage here again. We will have the quarterfinals on Thursday, the semifinals on Friday, the championship on Saturday, which will be on WDAY Extra. Scott, are you back with us? I think we lost you to internet connection issues.
Yep, I'm back.
Awesome. Well, there we go. Scott Kost joining us once again, Central Cass softball head coach. As I was asking, just having Class A opponents on your schedule, do they exceed expectations against some really good competition there?
Yeah, we played a couple of really good games. We happened to sneak one out against Dickinson, who will end up being the number 1 seed in Class A. Williston. They got a great lineup. They beat us up a little bit. We faced a really good pitcher in Fargo Davies. We had a couple of really good contests against Fargo North. And so, yeah, I feel like those, like I said earlier, iron sharpens iron. And I really do feel like those games help prepare us for some of the things that we need to do this weekend.
Have you had an opportunity to look at the teams that are in this Class B softball field? What stands out to you when you look at your competition this weekend?
Yeah, I think there's some really good teams. I've gotten a chance to watch Delax, Velva, Beulah. I've been able to watch them all in person play. We faced Thompson a couple of times already this year, so they've got a very nice team. They're always well prepared. Kindred obviously is our arch rival. We see them. We see them a couple times a year, so I think it is a very good field. I'm expecting some great competition, some great games here.
Absolutely. Well, we are all looking forward to watching some Squirrels softball coming up this weekend. I know you're a busy guy, so I'll let you get back to it. Scott Kost joining us on this Monday morning.
I appreciate you, Sam. Thanks for the coverage. And I appreciate WDAY covering as well. You guys always do a great job.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And we look forward to it every single year now, being able to do this. So, Scott, I appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day, man.
You as well.
Scott Kost from Central Cass here on this Memorial Day edition of Hot Mic. Almost got through it smoothly. Internet every time. No, it worked out great. It was great to catch up with him. You saw the bracket. Guys, let's flash that up here real quick one more time so I can get a good look at it. Central Cass is the 1 seed. They will take on Pembina County North in the quarterfinal round. That is at 4 o'clock. Our coverage starts and all the action starts at 11 in the morning in the quarters with Velva Drake Animus, the 2 seed, against Glenburn, who is unseeded in this Class B state softball tournament. So that'll start at 11. And then from there, 35 minutes after the conclusion of Game 1, it'll be Delax Burlington, who was in the championship last year. They're the 3 seed this year. They will take on Kindred. And then we'll have a break in the evening session. We'll get started at 4 o'clock, as I mentioned, with Central Cass and Pembina County North. And then we will wrap up that quarterfinal Thursday in the 4-5 matchup with Beulah and Thompson, 35 minutes after the conclusion of Central Cass and Pembina County. So for coverage purposes, if you want to watch this Class B softball tournament, the quarters and the semis are on WDAY Plus, which is an app that you can get right on your mobile phone. You can also find these games on inform.com on a live stream as well. And then those semifinal games are at 4 o'clock on Friday and then 35 minutes after the conclusion of the first semifinal game. And then the championship is on Saturday, and you can find that on WDAY Extra. We are also going to have all the consolation semifinals, the 5th place and the 7th place game all weekend long. Those will be streaming exclusively on WDAY Plus. And as I mentioned earlier, we have Class B softball, Class A softball, Class B baseball, and Class A baseball, as well as North Dakota girls soccer and North Dakota tennis happening in Grand Forks. So your central hub, if you want to stay plugged in on everything and have quick access to pop around in an app, WDAY Plus and Inform.com is the place for that. But you can also catch a lot of these tournaments on WDAY Extra and WDAY2. I'll give you the full bracket outlook and the full TV rundown coming up later in the show in hour number 2. But we are due for a break. We're going to keep our attention on softball to start the 10 o'clock hour, but we're going to move to Class A because West Fargo Horse is doing some pretty impressive things. We're going to have their head coach, Jen Smart, join us in just a couple of minutes here on Hot Mic.